You know what's super fun? Riding dirt bikes. As a young man, I spent a lot of time riding and I loved it. But eventually the injuries started adding up. Getting this machine running will be an awesome experience. The biggest problem I'm having right now is the trainer wheels. The setup I have now is working, but locking it off in different positions isn't possible. So I've made my homemade electric actuator. Got a steering rack out of a Toyota Hilux, a window winder motor. This is actually perfect because they just stall out when they get to the end. Also, it has a worm drive, so it won't back drive and you can lock it off in any position. And the link arm onto the wheel. Great, because I had this system here with ropes and pulleys and levers and stuff. Goes to a lever at the front. I mean, it all worked, but just a little bit too fiddly to use, whereas this I can just have an up button, down button, that's it. I need to have trainer wheels to hold it upright while moving slowly. I could have holes to put my legs through, but I don't really want my legs coming out and getting dislocated if I have a rollover. The whole point is to avoid injuries. The next problem is the 110 tooth sprocket I got laser cut keeps flicking the chain off, so I grind a leading edge to help guide the chain. I love this sprocket. Boom, sprocket's back on. I've strengthened this area here up. I was worried this is going to bust, so now that that's tied into there and there, triangulated strength, trifecta of awesome. Okay, that's going to be fine. Let's weld some stuff up. So I spent a whole day welding to get it ready for the first test under its own power. First successful drive. First issue we've got here is the chain has walked its way off all the way around the sprocket. I don't even understand how it's still sort of staying on there. None of the shops are open at the moment because I'm in a small town. Can't buy a bigger battery, so I've got this dodgely jumper to this one on the front here. Show some more of the better stuff. So I've got my little dashboard here. Look at that, eh? Woo. Key, and then you jump it right around to start it. And then I've got my wheel up down switch that I 3D printed. It's working pretty good. It seems the wheel jumped forward when I put it into gear, which made the chain misalign. I need to build a chain tensioner, but for the meantime I lever it over and do it up tight. Also, that grinding is not selecting the gear properly. The gear linkage just needs adjusting. Alright, there's a problem with the clutch. I've actually had this cover off and the plate's all apart and they are moving freely, but it's not engaging, it's just slipping. I wonder if I've done something to this piece here when I've cut it. I modified this cover to fit the front sprocket. Maybe I had damaged something in the process. So the plate's off, there's no load on it. I shouldn't be able to, this should be turning over the motor when I do this and set it slip in the clutch. So there's something going on here, the clutch is not releasing. Another good feature of the electric actuator is I can tip the bike to whatever angle I want. Turns out nothing was wrong on this side. I must have just jammed the push rod. So I reassemble it, ready for the next test. Clutch is working brilliant now. It looks like the gearing is just right too. So 110 teeth is what you need if you're building yourself one of these bat bikes with a 33-inch rear tyre apparently. The steering is atrocious though. We need get out to a paddock so we can stretch its legs, but I might do a few more modifications first. That'll help it turn a lot, and I found you can actually just sand this rubber back with these paint stripper discs, but it does wear them out pretty quickly. Actually just found an even better way. The wire wheel seems to chew through it pretty quick. Now that that fun as job is done, I'm going to start crafting myself a bit of a seat. What I have done in the past is use yoga mats. You can cut them to shape. All I got to do now is find some. So I have a bunch of these I can use to pad up whatever area is going to be uncomfortable, or so I don't get hurt when I have a massive rollover. That's pretty comfortable already. I'm actually not really ready to have a seat in here yet because I've still got a fair bit left to do. Made myself a new bracket here with that PLA Plus. Well, it does a good job, doesn't it? My new battery. Oh yeah. Get that mounted in there. That cranks easy as now. No more jumping batteries, great. Also 3D printed up a little bracket for my choke lever. Just show you guys a bit of an easy way of doing it. So you take a photo with your phone, put it into Fusion 360 as a canvas, select your face, put it on there, any position. Then you got to go up to calibrate your canvas, select 2 points, make sure your picture has some sort of measurement on it. So I select the 2 points, either side of the ruler, right in 50mm, and then it's all to size. And then you can just trace around what you've got there, and then you can use the joint function to do a bit of an animation to see if it's going to work. Put it into Cura, that's what I use, and print it off. That works good. You only need to hold it for a few seconds while it's cold. Another problem I've got is the gear lever. It doesn't work very well because it's pushing a long way through all these linkages, and I really want to have a foot operated one like a motorbike. What a Postie bike has is a lever each side of the pivot you can just slam with your foot, which will be easier to operate. So I'll move this pivot down. Okay, after a lot of trial and error, I've got this thing working now. That's a lot better. And another linkage up here as well, helps it shift a bit better. So I put a little video on Instagram to see what the experts have to say. Those trainer wheels are so cute. Now give them back to a little girl. The kitty wheels ruined it for me. Almost cool. What? I'll give the client a ring. Hey Bruce. I'm Batman. Oh yeah, Batman. Do you reckon trainer wheels are okay? Trainer wheels are lame. So it looks like the trainer wheels have got to go. But also another problem just happened. When I lean it over, all the load comes onto the side of it and pops a tire off the bead. So I don't know if this idea was ever going to work really. So I made these little skis up at work just out of a piece of 100 by 6mm flat bar. As you see, I've welded this one on. So let's see if this works, eh? I'll just weld the other side on. Well, that's a bit of a problem. Need more weld on there. this, it works awesome, right? No, it doesn't. As soon as you lift the skids up, it tries to fall over when it hits a bump or something like that. It does not want to balance. Another problem is the skids, this side's fine, but since this side is just relying on the twist of this pipe, there's flex in the pipe, so you can fall over really far on this side. So I probably need a bigger diameter pipe or make a strengthening frame up for it. But the biggest problem is the steering. So when you steer it, it's all good, and then you get to a certain point and she just basically wants to fall over. And like I'm holding the weight of it when I'm trying to turn back. So it's actually trying to tip over. The reason I've got a lot of rake is basically so it looks cooler. Also it stops a speed wobble once I'm going fast. And then the main problem is, I think it's called trailing angle. So if you draw a line in line with the pivot and then a line down from the center line of the front wheel, that distance is your trailing length. At the moment we're sitting on about 300 mil and a normal dirt bike is about 100 mil. So my pivot should really, my front wheel axle should be about here. So what I'll end up doing is making up a plate that I can mount in the front wheel there, but I might drill a few holes so I can experiment with different positions till I get it feeling just right. But that's quite a lot of work and I don't feel like doing that right now, so I might start making some Perspex body panels. I've cut out the rough shape, but I want to do a fold along this line. I've seen lots of videos of people using heat to do it, but I might just see if you can do a score and then fold it like you do with steel, because I kind of like the sharp fold look. Okay, so the wife's now helping me put the window tints on, because I'm incapable of doing it, I just make a mess of it. What do you reckon, Tish?
I reckon we shouldn't tint windows, but given that I have experience doing this once with Kmart window tinting, I'm a pro.
Now just say that about 3 times as fast so no one gets bored.
No.
So these side pieces here are just Perspex as well, or polycarbonate or Linex, or I don't really know the difference, but it's hard to fold. I did a little test piece to show you how I folded it. First thing you do is you run a score down it with a grinder. Then you get your heat gun, make sure it's a good one, and throw it in the bin. And just put it in your dodgy homemade folder. It springs back heaps. And there you go, you get a pretty nice fold. If you use the heat gun, it just ends up bending in all different places, so this way's way better. Probably still need that actually. I've got the bare minimum of bolts holding the windows and these back panels on, just because I've got some other stuff I need to do first. Looks pretty good. So Grind Hard Plumbing have just got their video out, I've just watched it, and they've got a few problems as well. Their build is super awesome, got hydraulic steering, and just really amazingly built. So these wheels are 35s, their ones are 46s, so theirs are that tall, which is taller than my whole thing. They're also in an upright riding position, so they've got more authority over it, and they can have wider handlebars. So I can only have my handlebars this wide so I can fit inside the cab, but as you can see mine is way easier to steer because I've got a 2-to-1 ratio on chain and sprocket, and chain and sprockets are super efficient, way more efficient than like a hydraulic steering. So this ride's fine when you're going straight, but when you turn, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like a motorbike. So part of the reason of the tyres, I need to cut the side lugs off this tyre as well. I would also like to re-groove these so I get some tread back. The steering geometry with this pivot moved up I think is going to be one of the biggest things that changes it all. And then I might even be able to get a smaller gear on here so I get more response out of the steering, make it a bit nicer to handle. At the moment I'm fighting a little bit because of the weird geometry I got going on there. So this side ski here actually works fine. It is a bit rowdy on that road over in Mexico there, but maybe a bit of plastic underneath could be something to look at. It's made for off-road though, so maybe I'll just leave it. This one just flexes out of the way, it's pretty much useless, so I need to strengthen that up. So there is actually room underneath here that I could build a gyro, big gyro plate, and that would be a game changer. So if this video gets heaps of views and I get enough money, I'll be able to do something like that, which would be totally awesome. Then I could get rid of all of this. Need to clean some things up, got a bit of a scratch on my leg. You can actually see some leg hairs on here. The other good thing is I can fall over at a reasonable speed and not even get hurt at all. Whereas on Guide Hard Plumbing's one, you fall over and you get wrapped up in one of those big wheels. Not good. So it'd be interesting to see what they do. Next time it's going to be working a bit better.
Mum's gonna growl you for all this.